Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Gratu Orloff here. Today we're going to be looking at some vinyl records, or as you youngsters call them, vinyls. Apparently they're the thing that everyone's collecting now. I just started an episode. I had to quickly end it. But now we'll have a little bit longer time to talk. I was about to tell you that Funko Pops may be seeing their end. They're starting to have trouble, ladies and gentlemen. They're having to bury like millions of dollars worth of Funko Pops in a landfill because they can't sell the stuff. So we might be at the end of that. You know, you had Beanie Babies, you had, what else was there? There was the Furby, the Cabbage Patch Doll. These Funko Pops have been keeping a lot of comic stores open for a while. I was about to tell you in the last episode that years ago there was a really bad Atari 2600 game called E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and it was just really bad. The movie was good, but the game was just wretched, so they couldn't sell them. They just opened up, filled a giant landfill full of the games. Then years later, someone dug up all those games and made a documentary about it. But anyway, Atari 2600, for those of you that remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at records. Let's see what else we got. And we'll take these records downstairs. Here's Artie Shaw and his orchestra. Back Bay Shuffle. This record. You know, I don't know. I mean, you got records with the original shrink wrap. I'm just going to pull it off. I know, this is from 1964. It's James Brown, Pure Dynamite. It has vivid sound, ladies and gentlemen. Yours truly, James Brown. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave this record out to play it. The ones I'm going to play, I'm going to put in a special pile. So, let's see. It's just about every record I just pulled out, I think. I was looking at these records last episode. Yeah, I know, as people say, but Gratu Orloff, this is a comic book channel. No, it isn't. It's whatever I want it to be. It might be records, might be comic books, it might be whatever I'd like to look at. I'll put these records over here. Back in 1982, or maybe it was 81, my friend and I, my friend George Arbelize, it's actually pronounced Jorge, but he always went by George because people back in the 70s had trouble pronouncing Spanish names, so he probably just went with George. But anyway, good friend of mine since the fall of 1977 when we came back to Bailey Junior High. after the summer of Star Wars, and the people like me and like him and a few others couldn't wait to talk to some other human about Star Wars. Can you believe what you just saw? He was one of the people I talked to about that. But anyway, George now has a commercial advertising firm, and he does a lot of, or most, if not all of the advertising for Six Flags Over Texas. So, but anyway, we were in a commercial art class back at Arlington High School, probably about 81, 82. And, shut. Okay, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We had to do a record album cover. And he did a soundtrack for this movie that was coming up in about 6 months. We knew there was a Conan the Barbarian movie coming out. And so he did an imaginary, what will the soundtrack look like? And so this is what he painted. And he gave it to me. This is his soundtrack album for Conan. I told him, I remember sitting next to him in the art class and I told him to add that blood. You know, I said, you got to put some blood if he's like. So, what do you think of that, ladies and gentlemen? And we had to do the back cover, too. Look, you got an A over an A+. And there's the back cover. And of course, this is where there would be liner notes, or but we were just told to leave lines. Pretty good for a high school student. On this one, he also got an A over A+. Now mine, I need to put this with mine. I know where mine is. I found it while I was unpacking, so. Actually, let's go down to the basement and get mine so you can see what I did. I decided to do an alternative universe view of the Beatles album Help. Like I thought, well, I'll do a pop art version of what the soundtrack to the movie Help would look like. It didn't have to be a movie soundtrack, I don't think. I think I just happened to do another soundtrack. Let's pretty sure it's down here on top of a pinball machine. Oh boy. So I got records everywhere, man. We can go through all the records because I don't know what else to show you. I've shown you. If you go back to all my old episodes, I've shown you just about every comic book I ever had. Oh, here it is. I'll show you upstairs. Yes, indeed. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Tuesday? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We got all the healthy cereal here. And we got model kits. Everything you need for the apocalypse. In fact, we have a whole pantry here I'll need to show you. The pantry to show you that we've stocked up, because you never can tell what's going to happen to the world when you've got a Democrat in office. It could be total war with Russia any day. So, you've got to have supplies, ladies and gentlemen. So, we've got chickpeas and crushed tomatoes. We've got crusty ass honey cornbread. We got Dolly Parton's creamy buttercream Southern style banana. We got a whoopee cushion. We've got Catwoman party favors. Whole box of hamburger helper and macaroni and cheese. We got your tuna. We got pumpkin pie mix. We got your hash. It's like a grocery store in here, but it's the grocery store of your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. You've got Captain America Kleenex. You've got your straws. Donald Duck orange juice. Batman fruit drink. You've got your charcoal lighter. You got your Play-Doh. What else we got in there? Quaker Oats, Blueberry, your Armor Vienna sausage. You got your beans. You got your civil defense helmet. Okay, lots of Himalayan pink salt. Got your Dr. Pepper. You got your Elvira beer back there. Some Dr. Pepper. Some Kellogg's OK. Lots more Monster cereals. What else do we have? Ramen. Yeah, you got everything. You got your George Foreman grill. You even have a tape recorder, so while you're surviving the apocalypse, you can dictate your, your life story. Publish a book, How I Survived the Nuclear War. Yes, indeed. Plastic cups. You got these. Got matches. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Playtex zipper girdle. Everything you need. And Superman Crazy Foam also. Well, anyway, that's all you need to see of that. Just let you know that here at the Grotch Werloff Inspirational Network, we are stocked up for the apocalypse. Why am I down here? Oh, I was going to show you my homemade record album made in my commercial art class in high school. I knew there was a reason I came down to this dank, filthy basement. At one time, this was a funeral home, and they were probably embalming bodies down here in this basement where we eat our supper. But that was many years ago. It stopped being a funeral home in 1972. Some people are afraid of ghosts. But you're not afraid of ghosts, are you? Because as darkness falls, as the shadows become dark and black, the silent pall of evil settles upon the earth. Who dares to search? Who dares to see? What walks in the night? If you dare, welcome to the Tomb of Terror, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You'll have to tell me what you think of me looking at records. I know there's some people that have been asking for this. And I know some of you in the comic book community are starting to do different things. Like Crypt Keeper of Castle Hill is starting to talk about his memories of going to different concerts when he was younger and other things. Oh, I had this character. I used to do these homemade comic books. I had this character, two characters. One was named Major Mutilate and one was named Captain Carnage. And this is long before Marvel invented that character, Carnage. Anyway, this is the cover for this is my high school self. This is the Liverpool Times-Journal, September 23rd, 1948. Help by the Beatles. The power-mad leader of the invading aliens has succeeded in bringing Earth to its knees. To set fear into the hearts of the leaders of the world, he crushes the head of the president of the U.S. like a ripe melon. Gah! It's just like horrible. I can't believe I turned this into an art teacher. That does it. Now the aliens will feel my wrath. Yeah, that's Major Mutilate. Take this, commie. It's Major Mutilate. Now I realize my art teacher probably was a commie. I was like, what is it the youngsters call it, based? I had no filter. I turned this into a teacher that was probably a complete Flaming ex-hippie liberal. I, Major Mutilate, have triumphed once again. Nothing can escape my vengeance. All who oppose me shall feel this cold blade open their something necks. Let's see, there's an alien, weird alien that's in front of the comic, so you can't, you see, there's a shadow thrown on top of the, it's supposed, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be psychedelic, but pop art was also popular in the mid-60s, so. Their leader dead, the aliens retreat back to their home planet of Sasquatch. However, they vow to return to Earth when the writer of this comic strip runs out of ideas. Extra, extra, read all about it. Aliens leave Earth. I'll take one, son. It says he's blind there. Okay, Major Mutilate, that'll be 50 cents. What? How do you know my secret identity? No one knows that I'm really Major Mutilate. Look, he's really a space alien. Good Lord, the paperboy is a mutant shapeshifter. Exactly, now say your prayers, Hosehead. Where did I get Hosehead? Was that from Welcome Back, Kotter, or from what were the two Canadian that came from SCTV? Bob and Doug McKenzie. I think I know they said Hoser. Did they also say Hosehead? I really like that movie Strange Brew. I remember that was probably from about that same time period. Irk, you can't really read it all. You'll pay for that. Okay, then holy cow, rats have eaten my face. See, this would probably be better as a Frank Zappa record cover. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it. That's from the Marlon Brando movie. Yeah. Look at that. Commercial Art 1, period 4. I got a B+ over an A+. He got an A over an A+. Man, this is my back cover. It's Major Mutilate shouting, help! And so that's the kind of hatch marks that represent, that's where words would be, you know, like the Beatles' names. This one got an A over an A-. I guess the teacher thought this was too busy. I don't know. If this had been a Beatle record, I think people would have still bought it. Now, you say, well, this is insanity, Colonel Orloff. Well, yes, but it's not as insane as if they had released the Butcher cover. You got to admit it. Although, pretty close. All right, so, records. Oh, here's one. Walt Disney's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Look at that. I got this when I was in 4th grade. I remember I was in San Antonio and I got this. I had never seen the cartoon. Okay, here's Sounds of the Haunted Mansion. This has a magnificent full-color illustrated book and long-playing record. Well, this is good, as I recall. And I think it has the whole soundtrack of the ride with Paul Frees' voice. I was about to say Thurl Ravenscroft, but it was Paul Frees. It was Paul Frees on this particular ride. So, this is got a little storybook with it. And this is amazing, you have to admit. But, look at that. It's just great. The ultimate record, probably the best record ever made, probably, above Sgt. Pepper, is this, of course. Chilling, Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. Now, this was the first one. This one came out, I think, even before the Haunted Mansion ride opened at Disneyland. Here lies the most terrific collection of recorded sounds. This is not the original edition. This one has these extra spooky party hints in it. I have like 4 or 5 copies of this record, and I've got it on CD. But just Side 1 has stories, but side 2, it's just sound effects from Disney cartoons that they use in a lot of Disney cartoons. A lot of them came from a 1930s cartoon where Mickey Mouse, or maybe very early 1940s, Mickey Mouse is up against some ghosts. Screams and groans. You've got screams and groans, thunder, lightning, and rain. The screams and groans one is just fantastic. But if you play just one single scream on your YouTube channel, it'll flag you because that's extremely copywritten by Disney. All right, what else do we have here to see? This is, yeah, that record is highly recommended. That chilling, thrilling sounds of the haunted house. Here's a Henry Mancini record, featuring the original Days of Wine and Roses, Our Man in Hollywood. So this one's you know, you can tell it's from a thrift store. It's kind of beat up. Some people didn't treat their records properly. Sometimes you just get a record just because it's got a beautiful woman on the cover, and the music may or may not be wonderful. Usually on the Pickwick label, you can pretty much guarantee that it won't be that great, or the sound quality won't be that great, but at least it has some visual appeal. From Spain with Love, it's Paris Mitchell, his string and voices. Anyway, fantastic. It was $1.98 when it came out. It still has its price tag on it. This is Alan and Rossi, were these two comedians. This is Batman and Reuben, featuring Alan and Rossi. Holy bagels, Batman. We left our masks in the Batcave. I would guess that this would probably be available for you to listen to on YouTube, more than likely. You got Bob Kane on the back telling you there's Bob Kane, the supposed creator of Batman. But we know better, ladies and gentlemen. It says, this album, which I created, was especially tailored for the unique comedy talents of Alan and Rossi. What I have tried to do is write the album as if it were a radio or TV Batman serial. I wanted to give it the comic book feeling come to life, except more so by making it very campy, a kind of takeoff spoof on a spoof like the TV series. I had a ball making this record with my friends Marty and Steve. We had a lot of laughs during the coffee breaks with the usual backstage clowning. Steve is very good playing Batman, straight to Marty's wild campy Reuben, the Jewish boy wonder. I must also say that the other members of the cast were excellent. Special credit should be given to John Ridge, who played many parts, Reuben's father, Commissioner Gordon, the Penguin, the announcer, and did a wild job as the Riddler. Jean Martin, with the low, syrupy, sexy voice, was excellent as the Catwoman, and Martin Steicher was equally good as the waitress at the discotheque. I must say that I myself played a couple of cameo parts, one as Al, the bartender, and another as the Riddler's dumb henchman. Keep your bat light shining, Bob Kane. All right, so that's a interesting little Batman collectible. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What else we got? Oh. What's this one? Oh, I can't show that one. Some records have covers that are not showable. My first record, 21 of TV's popular Ding Dong School and Romper Room and Golden Classics. My first record. Uh-oh. Martha Wright sings Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, Rodgers and Hart, and others, but it's censored. Oh, the original versions of 12 songs presented on Broadway, not cleared for broadcasting. Okay, some of the, like especially Cole Porter, the original versions of some of the songs are very politically incorrect by our standards today. Ah, look, My Boyfriend's Back by the Angels. You know this song. Everyone knows this song. Astounding. I'm really looking for a couple of albums in particular that have, when I find them, I'll know. They have some pictures of one of my jukeboxes on the cover. I want to frame them, put them next to the jukebox. There's Twilight Time by the Three Sons. Three Sons are fun to listen to. Well, here's another Three Sons record, Twilight Time. Okay, what else do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? This is oh, yeah, it's the soundtrack to South. Well, it's the Broadway cast, original Broadway cast of South Pacific. Yeah, this is good stuff. Um, this is my song, Patty Page. Oh, it has the Tennessee Waltz on it. Patty Page, the beautiful Patty Page. Here's Coffee Break, Reg Owen and his orchestra. You say, Gratu, where are your rock and roll records? I've got lots of rock and roll records. It's just they aren't in this pile, obviously. Ray Anthony concert. Ray Anthony's great. You should hear his version of the theme to Dragnet. Look at how the audience reacts to Ray Anthony's music. You can tell he's great. Ray Anthony's golden horn blows semi-classical favorites and popular and melodic arrangements. Ray Anthony was married to Mamie Van Doren for a while. Lester Lannon and his orchestra, more twistin' in high society. There's Lester Lannon himself. They have a lot of twisting records available. You can tell this record came out right about 1962. Here is a great one. Other Worlds, Other Sounds, Esquivel and his orchestra. The wonderful Juan Esquivel, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me on this. You got to trust me on that one. He's fantastic. It would be so great if I could just play records here on YouTube, but I don't think that's allowable. Although I see people do it, but I don't know. Seems like. Sometimes I'll keep the shrink wrap on if it's got like an identifiable store like Teich's, Department 779. So that was 779 was the record department. All right. The Sandpipers, Four-Sider. This is more of a late 60s looking thing. Here's Al Melgard at the Chicago Stadium organ. World's largest theater pipe organ. Yeah, I want to listen to that record. The versatile Henry Mancini. and his orchestra. I'm so used to looking at horror comic books. At first, I thought that was a horrible corpse hand reaching out for Henry Mancini. It looks like a dead EC Comics hand from a zombie reaching for him. But it's merely driftwood. Country style. Patsy Cline, Maddox Brothers. Okay, so these are, and it has Lonzo and Oscar. Look at, let's see what's going on here. This has a great cover, you know, just because the cover, you know, the girl's great, but you got to be careful. In the 70s, these records that say electronically enhanced for stereo effect, that's fake stereo, and it is not something you want to be around, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I just found a whole bunch of old cowboys and horses and Civil War soldiers and knights in the garage, and I'm trying to put them back together. We can look at that here in a minute. This is, remember how great these are. It's like a collection of greatest hits of different. It's like a nostalgia record, right? Oh, this one came from Half Price Books. There's nothing on the back. I think this is, what is this? This is a mystery record. I think it was made for like dance school, if you go to dance school. Yeah, it's just like, this is meant to be played in dance school, like Arthur Murray Dance School or something. If you go to learn how to dance, they'll put on that record. The Ventures Christmas album. The Ventures, I don't think they ever appeared on any of their albums. My friend was telling, I think that they were like people they hired to pose on the covers. It seems like maybe that record there, it's the real Ventures on the cover. Usually there would just be a girl on the cover. They were just kind of a mysterious band, Dave Brubeck Quartet. But you know, in Japan, the Ventures were as big as the Beatles, because the great thing about the Ventures is you don't have to know English, because all their songs are instrumentals. And it's weird, there's a great concert movie where the Ventures play in Japan, and it's very interesting how the Japanese audience just stays there like they're watching a fine concert by a classical composer. They just sit there and watch. It's not kids screaming and jumping and all standing up. A very different way they approach the rock and roll music. Okay. What else we got here? Well, it's another copy of the Henry Mancini record. Looks like I picked it up more than once. Here's a fake soundtrack record. It's From Russia with Love with the Pink Panther. I mean, it's got a great cover, but it says composed by Henry Mancini, but it's not the Henry Mancini version. And this one here, title song by Lionel Bart. No, Lionel Bart was not the guy that did the From Russia. Anyway, it's on this great Diplomat Records. So anyway, that's just fake themes from movies. It used to be the bane of your existence if you were a soundtrack collector, all these fake soundtrack records, but then they became kind of interesting. Just because you're hearing a different version of it. This is the Fireballs Going Away with Groovy Emotions. Now the Fireballs are, Jerry Gilmer and the Fireballs that did Sugar Shack. Ooh, we can't show that record. The band The Dwarves. This is the back cover. I can't show you the front of the cover. It's I'll put that with that other cover that I can't show you. All right, this is an interesting record I got in 5th grade. Theme from Star Trek, Planet of the Apes. Theme from the Planet of the Apes TV series. Ape Shuffle, Batman theme, and Superman theme. Superman themes from the old Golden Records from the 50s. This is a weird record. The Star Trek theme doesn't really sound anything like the Star Trek theme, as I recall. It's just very strange. It's a very strange record. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But now it sounds interesting. In 5th grade, I wanted all the original, exact sounds from the original TV shows or movies. All right, what do we got over here? Oh, here's some great records. I highly recommend this record. You can just listen to it on YouTube. If you're into the Cramps, you would like Tav Falco's Panther Burns. Just trust me on it. Tav Falco voices guitars. Alex Chilton, guitar, drums. Alex Chilton, it says LX Chilton. Alex Chilton, I believe, I thought he produced this record. He also produced one of the early Cramps records. Alex Chilton, you know from the band The Box Tops. He was a teenager, real young, on that record. You probably know the record from Oldies Radio called The Letter. That goes, give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time for a fast plane. Lonely days are gone, I'm a going home. My baby don't write me a letter. He messed his voice up as much as he could, doing everything you could to your voice to mess it up before he recorded that, so he'd sound like an old guy, but he was actually a teenager. That's probably the most famous song. Box Tops have other great songs, but that's their most famous one, which you have heard, even if you don't know it. But that's a great. Anyway, Alex Chilton. Oh, my friend knew Alex Chilton. He was a friend of his. Here's another copy. It's another copy of the same record, like a later copy. I'm trying to get. My friend's going to come on soon on a live broadcast. My friend Randy. Here's another one by Tav Falco. Tav Falco's Panther Burns, The World We Knew. It's got a gatefold. Oh, another great record. What is this? Walt Disney presents the story of Tubby the Tuba. All right. Here's Santo and Johnny. You know them from the song Sleepwalk, which is not on this record, but they do have Slave Girl and Raunchy. Santo and Johnny. Oh, here's a good one. Saturday Night Live. This is a record that came out. It's recordings of the first season. Different skits. This is when Saturday Night Live was brilliant. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, you've got Chevy Chase, Jane Curtin, Garrett Morris. Garrett Morris was the first person to play Ant-Man, which is why in the first Ant-Man movie they have Garrett Morris pick up Paul Rudd in a Taxi. You've got Lorraine Newman and Gilda Radner. Look up Lorraine Newman's got a sister that in the early '60s was like a folk singer. She's beautiful and she's very has a lot of personality. Can't remember her name. Her last name's Newman. You probably type in Newman folk singer, you'll get it on YouTube. Anyway, the second season, Chevy Chase left and Bill Murray came in. Bill Murray wasn't there first season. Okay. This is a movie that everyone's forgotten that I thought was really good, Yanks. And there were other, that Richard Gere, also another really good Richard Gere movie was An Officer and a Gentleman. And nobody, is that even available anymore? That movie was hugely popular, and it's like it's just disappeared off the face of the earth. I was wanting to watch that with my wife. And I think she said she thought she'd seen it, but she wasn't sure. This is a terrible movie, but a wonderful soundtrack. And it could have been a great movie. I mean, it has Electric Light Orchestra, Olivia Newton-John. It has Gene Kelly. It just was directed by like a... I don't know. I enjoy it, so I can't really say it's a bad movie, but, you know, the lead guy, you know, he just, I think wasn't he in the Warriors? I don't know, this guy here, I don't remember. But anyway, it's one of those things that it's hard to explain, that movie, but the soundtrack's dynamite. Here's Wilma Flintstone telling you the story of Bambi. Don't ask me. It's because Bambi, you know, is not owned by Disney. I mean, the depiction of Bambi, the way he's drawn in the Disney cartoon, is owned, but you know, Bambi was a series of books. You know, I think it goes all through Bambi's life. There's a bunch of Bambi books. How about that? Yes, indeed. I was working in a movie theater in the summer of '84 when this movie came out, and all of a sudden the movie theater became the cool place to be in town. Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. Well, that's a lot of writing on the back. The music from this album is great, regardless of whatever he may have done later in his career. It's the soundtrack to The King of Comedy. Who has this? Well, I do. Why did I get it? Well, it's just a collection of kind of big. Yes, indeed. How about that? These are these cruising records are supposed to sound like you're listening to the radio in that whatever particular year it says there. So this is supposed to be 1961, and every one of the album covers has the same couple over the years. So this is supposed to be Arnie Woo Woo Ginsburg, but they're actually not original air checks. They got the DJ in like the late 60s to come back and recreate what they sounded like on the radio. So some of them still had a lot of their jingles and commercials, and they tried to recreate but the problem is a lot of these songs, at least on these issues that I have, they're not the original versions, so it'll cut into some newly recorded, cheap, horrible version of the song. This is another movie everyone's forgotten, McVicker, a true crime story with Roger Daltrey, and it's got a really great sound. I almost actually said a killer soundtrack, and I would have sounded like an idiot. So it's got a killer soundtrack, dude. But no, it's great. I remember the song Bitter and Twisted. That would be great. You know the way they make these Batman movies now where he's all dark and depressed? That would have been a great song to use in a Batman movie. If you're going to do Batman that way, there's they're all great songs. Free Me is a great song too. My Time Is Gonna Come. They're all great. Without Your Love is a great ballad. It's the whole soundtrack's great. It's like a it's like a Who album that never no one even knows about. This is another Prince record that came out when I was in high school. That other one came out when I was in college. This is this was played at my prom. This 1999. And then it's like, wow, it's 1999. It's the song, it's the year that Prince sang about. It's the year that Space 1999 took place in. And then 1999 passed, and then years kept going, and it's like suddenly it's like, shoot, it's 2023. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? I got to get these records out of the. Got to get them downstairs to the basement. Here's Heaven Help Us. This was comedy with I don't know. It takes place in the early '60s, and it's in a Catholic boys' school, as I recall. And there's that idiot that was in Fright Night playing that weird looking character, but. Other than that, I don't know. I don't remember what that guy. I think isn't he related to someone else? It's Andrew McCarthy, Mary Stuart Matthews. Oh, Kevin Dillon. Yeah, that's Matt Dillon's younger brother. I remember that. I'm starting to. All these flashes from the '80s are coming back to me. I'm starting to remember. This is the soundtrack to National Lampoon's Vacation with this Boris Vallejo art, like a fantasy. Conan the Barbarian kind of thing. It's a good cover. Mondo Cane #2, the sequel to Mondo Cane, which was an exploitation Italian documentary that shows it means a dog's world. It shows horrible, weird stuff that happens all over the world. And it was a big hit and had a big popular song. The theme to Mondo Cane called More was a big hit, and so they made a sequel. There's the soundtrack to Grease. Everyone's got that. Yeah, it's like you've heard the theme to Mondo Cane. It's like more than the world will know, more than I don't know. I should do it karaoke. I don't remember the words though. I did some shorts here on YouTube, 15-second little things. One of them had like 800 views, and then it shows you who are the people that saw it and how many people actually sat through the whole 15 seconds. Like 30% actually sat through the whole 15 seconds. But it's weird, the statistics are completely opposite, because my show, it shows, if you look up the stats, that everyone that watches the show is in their 50s and 60s, and they're all men. And it used to be more accurate. They used to give you more detailed, you had like 2% that were in their 30s, but now it's like they got lazy. 100% men, I know it isn't, because I know there's a few women that watch, but anyway, the shorts, when it shows there, it's like 100% women watched, and what was it? Oh, when they're all like in their 20s and